May 1st, 2026 meeting of the Lane Transit District Board of Directors to order. And please note that the agenda has been updated and the CEO amendment has been moved to the March board meeting. So let's go ahead with roll call. Michelle Weber. Here. Pete Knox. Here. Lawrence Green.
Here.
Heather Murphy. Here. Gino Grimaldi. Kelly Sutherland. Here. And Susan Cox. Okay. We're now going to move to public comment. And for those online, please use your raise hand feature if you'd like to make a comment. And we do have an in-person signed up. So John Gangle. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is John Gangle. I'm a representative with ATU Local 757. As most people know, ATU and LTD are about to go into public bargaining. And it's important to point out that there's been some dysfunction with how folks have received equal representation here at LTD. Certain people have not been given the right to the grievance process in any timely manner. And certain derogatory terms have been used pretty frequently. The sad thing is that this is a repeating history at LTD. And it's my hope that moving forward, we use this round of bargaining as a chance to heal, to really put certain behaviors to rest. We can't continue to beat each other's throats. There can no longer be this notion that people can't challenge one another because of certain differences. In the past, there's been certain bigotries that have hindered the growth opportunities of some. And I want to recognize that LTD has taken some serious strides lately to right those wrongs. There's still work to be done. And it's my true and genuine hope that ATU and LTD can work in a true partnership, continue that path forward, and not just heal old wounds, but truly strengthen the relationship so that this community of workers can be accessible to everyone. So that the words in our values have real meaning and real depth and are truly honored, instead of running the risk of being just a meaningless plaque on the wall. There's a lot of work to be done, and it's my hope and my faith that our two sides can come together and really do that work and really get some positive movement going. Thank you.
Brianna, is there anyone else online? Or? No. Okay, that concludes our public comment, and we will move to board reports. So let's start with the Lane Council of Governments. Pete Knox?
No report at this time.
Okay, that was quick. Metropolitan Policy Committee, Pete?
No report at this time.
The Lane Area Commission on Transportation, Heather?
Lane Act did not meet.
Whoa, this is fast. Okay. Strategic Planning Committee, Gino and Kelly?
Yeah, we had a really wonderful tour. And I just want to commend the entire LTD team for putting that together. There were staff members and community members and SBC members, and it was a great day. I mean, Dave, you might want to share a little bit more information if you'd like about the meeting. It was great. It was awesome. And so Gino was also there, so I'm sorry he's not here today to also commend the staff for a very successful meeting.
Thanks, Dave Roth, Director of Commanding at LTD. I'll just say that it was a great day, and thanks for those that participated. A big shout out goes to Brianna and Cosette Rees, who helped with the logistics of the the tour, and we are collecting some photos, and we're gonna put together a little report, so you'll hear more about it coming up soon. So he's gonna help us with that, and I think it's just a great experience for people to get out on the system and interact with the system on a public bus with our regular riders, and to just see how things work and see some of our great facilities and issues that we're dealing with, as well as opportunities in that future. So, thanks.
Thank you. And the bylaws committee, I think, thank goodness there was a strategic planning committee.
It was a long one too. And we missed a bus.
Maybe need to report some more. Okay. So we're ready for our CEO report from Jameson Otten from FAR.
Well, good evening, board. And apologies for not being there in person and for not having on the tie. A little casual, more casual than normal. I apologize for that. Jumping right into the employee of the month, I want to kind of set it up just a little bit. On Sunday, we had our employee celebration where we recognized the employee of the year. And the employee of the year is taking from each of the 12 employees of the month in that year. So this particular employee of the month starts that very next cycle of candidates for employee of the year. And I am so proud to introduce you or reintroduce you to Haley Pratt in our marketing department. She's our senior digital marketing specialist. Haley is one of the people that I remembered through the interview process because of her infectious smile. Always with a smile on her face. She's also one of the few people that I have to kick out every once in a while and tell to go home because she's just so busy doing her work and so diligent. I know Eric's going to say a few words about Haley, but we're so proud to have her on our team. And she's very active in the community through leadership, Eugene Springfield, and has taken an active role in the community. So Eric, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Jameson. Yes, Haley, thank you. Thank you for all that you do. I know you're nominated for that particular award because of your diligent work on our new website and launching that, and the work ethic that you showed in that project and thoughtfulness and expertise was exceptional. And it's also not the exception. You bring that to every single project, and you bring it in a way that always puts the riders first, and you're focused on accessibility and really presenting information to our riders in a way that makes sense and is effective. So thank you for all that you bring to LT. You have a bright future here. And I also learn from you every day, and I really appreciate that aspect you bring to our team. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Just thank you. I appreciate the recognition. I want to refract some of that positive light back onto the team too. Couldn't have done it without everybody, collaboration from both our project group, the marketing team, the organization as a whole. There's so many people who had to be involved in this project to make it happen how it did. So yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Well, congratulations. And a certificate and a letter.
Thank you.
Something fun.
Okay, I like it.
This is my favorite.
Thank you. I'm wearing the same outfit, I think. That's good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, are you ready for the operations report?
You are ready.
Okay. So moving into the monthly operations performance update, just a couple things to call out. Our ridership is down about 2% over the same time last year and about 2.5% over a rolling 12-month period. What's interesting is the biggest impact to the ridership decline is occurring on MX. So we're looking at what that cause might be. Again, this has been a trend we've been watching for some time as our revenue hours have changed. Our ridership has continues to go down. So we're going to be looking at that news to come. On our mobility services, that ridership slowed down to a 2.5% growth over the last 12-month rolling average, and our van pool program is tracking on schedule. One of the concerns that we had over the last 18 months was growing absenteeism. Our absenteeism is down over the last 12 months to 3.26%, down 3.26%. So that continues to trend in a good way. We attribute some of that to the hiring that we've been doing. Operator assaults, we continue to track those as well. We're up 5 over the last 12 rolling month average. There have been no operator physical assaults in November 25, but the definition of assault includes also bad behaviors that are less than physical. So we're tracking those as well. I'll stand for any questions on the performance report.
Any questions? No questions here.
Okay, moving into the monthly department reports. Just a couple areas I'd like to highlight. One is we recently in November we rolled out our transit app update. So transit app is a trip planning app that you can use basically all over the world. That campaign was launched and supported by a marketing effort that includes signage at stations, social media, and digital advertising targeted at U of O students. And there was a 75% increase in users over the past year. So we're going to be tracking that. We see this as an opportunity for people to access the service easier, but also when they leave Eugene Springfield to be able to access services in other places because this app is portable in different cities. We also have a renewed focus on our school districts. So our transportation program specialist has been hitting up the schools, 4J and Bethel, and we'll be going out into the rural school districts as well. And this is to talk about our past program and to answer any questions relating to how to use the service. We find that if we can talk to kids early and get kids involved with bus trips and on the bus, that helps us to grow that relationship as they transition into adulthood. So we have a very talented person in that role, actually a long-term bus operator who had a career path into the marketing side of the house. So we look forward to coming back here and reporting on the growth of that program as well. The facilities department met with the operations and planning staff with the Willamette Valley Winter Operations meeting. That's a meeting that's held between City of Springfield, Eugene, Cottage Grove, Veneta, Junction City, Creswell, all the people and all the organizations to coordinate for when bad weather hits. So we're very much engaged with what's going on in the community, and we'll be able to share information and be a resource as we move forward. In the finance area, of course, we're going to be going into our budget process. So you'll hear more about that. We're sharpening our long-range financials, and then we'll be meeting with the budget committee in March. The process will start internally with departments, and Pam will be heading that work up, and we'll be coming back to you as well as we move forward there. In the operations area, our bread and butter, I'd like to highlight just a couple of things here. One, the bus operator apprenticeship program, the first class began January 12 with 10 new apprentices expected. So this is a program to support new operators. And we know that as the conditions on the street have changed, different support levels need to happen. So we're proud to roll that program out. And then kind of dovetailed with that, we had the first and second year operator reunion training. So we know that years 1 and years 2 are critical in that role. We had 57 operators go through that to date. Feedback's been highly positive. And again, it's an opportunity to refresh on some guidance, provide some operational reminders, but also just to generally support our operators while they're in their first couple years on the street. And with that, I will take any questions.
Any questions from the board? Heather.
I have a question that's not on, from this report, although you touched on it with the school districts. I'll be supporting a consent agenda item that talked about the Safe Schools program. And so related to what you're talking about, I'm just curious, because in South Lane, we had a Safe Schools grant, but it dealt with roadways and ADA and things like that. How were the three districts, the three metro area districts chosen? Is there any goal to maybe extend some of that to rural? And I'm talking about the LCOG contract. I'm just curious.
I'm sorry, Heather. You're not referring to the safe routes? You're talking about our overall approach? Is that what I'm hearing?
I just on to what you said about the school districts, but it's on the consent agenda and I fully support it, so I'll vote for it. I'm just curious is all. Just curious about what will extend to the rural areas at any time.
So the Safe Routes program, I'm not sure. Is Cosette in the room? I can't see who's in the space.
No, and I can get it later. I was just curious.
Okay, I'm sorry, Eric?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to provide a little bit of context for that. So that contract is utilizing funds that were awarded through grants. So I do not believe that there's capacity for us to expand that, given that we have to keep it to the structure of what that grant was for.
Oh.
Yeah, so at this point, there wouldn't be the opportunity to amend that.
Gotcha. No worries. Maybe in the future. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Great. Other questions? Thank you, Eric.
And then the delegated authority report is in your packet on page 22. Any questions on that?
We're very agreeable tonight.
Yeah, I like this. All right. So with that, we'll move into the marketing brand campaign. I'll invite Eric to the podium.
Hello again, Eric Bernstein, Director of Marketing. I'm happy to share a little bit about an advertising campaign that we launched back in November. So in November, we launched a brand advertising campaign called Connect to What's Possible. And this campaign really is built on the work that LT has done around communicating the impact that transportation has on 4 outcome areas: housing, healthcare, education, and workforce. And the goal of this is really to communicate to the community overall that our entire community is better off when everyone can reach their destination. So we want to, in order to do that, we really need to branch out from LT's own marketing channels, work with media partners to build this advertising campaign. It's designed to be driving awareness and also just understanding for the value of public transportation. So this campaign is designed to be a first step and also foundational. So we'll build off of this with an additional iteration on the campaign that'll launch this spring. It also sets the foundation for additional work that we will do that's more program specific, to highlight specific opportunities that have a more direct call to action to really encourage more folks to ride the bus. But initially, this campaign is really designed to drive community appreciation for public transportation. So where this is showing up is a variety of advertising channels. That includes broadcast TV, various streaming TV platforms, streaming audio, digital billboards. We have 3 billboards that are placed in the Eugene-Springfield area. So our ads are rotating on those billboards. We also have a digital campaign that's paired with this. And there's a few parts to that digital campaign. That includes some programmatic advertising. So those are ads that are targeted to various audience segments here locally, but are going to display on a variety of websites. And then we also have some local digital buys. So those are showing up on Look at Eugene Springfield, Eugene Chamber of Commerce website. So really wanting to place these ads in a variety of places. Across all channels in that first month, we generated more than 1 million impressions. And what we're seeing for December is a continuation and really growth from that number. So we saw even more impressions in December. So next phase of this will be a refresh that's launching in April. And this is something that we're building out right now. We'll include a new TV campaign, new ad creative. And that's really going to focus on talking about using routes as a metaphor and really helping people find their route. And we'll direct folks to a feature page on our website for that part of the campaign. So it gives us an extra opportunity to measure interaction and campaign conversions through that tactic. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have about the campaign.
It's exciting. It's nice.
Did you, by chance, partner with Peace Health through their channels? Since that's one here. I know they have lots of more terminals too. Lots of TMEs and doctor's offices, and we push things out from the
We
district.
have not. That's a great idea.
Yeah, they're really great to work with, actually.
Yeah, that's
Their
great.
Marketing team.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Next up, we wanted to update you all on our legislative strategy. Lots going on at all levels of government. And I will turn it over to Sam Kelly, Quattrochi, to give you that update.
Good evening, board. Again, Sam Kelly Quattrochi, Government Relations Manager. Thrilled to be joining you all remotely tonight. What I have for you is something we worked on for a while. A lot of local governments create a legislative strategy focusing on policy, where they stand on certain housing goals, health and public safety, a variety of issues. At LTD, our policy goal is clear: support transit. So instead, what I have for you tonight is a cadence of meetings and goals to have with legislators locally, state, and federally over the next couple years, with extreme emphasis on the state level. We're going to see a lot of action this year and next. Going over it briefly, there are a couple of points I wanted to highlight. While we're not looking for a formal vote on this, I want to make sure some of the board responsibilities are clear and the expectations are appropriate for what you all want to provide. Earlier in December, I believe, board member Knox and Mike Hirsch went up to Salem together to present. That was sort of a dry run for this policy and this goal, having board members present on institutional history, policy positions, what are the impacts of their districts, and then the staff that attend with them presenting on maybe some of the hard data, how we've implemented policy the board has given, but really kind of separating those testimony goals together. And then going forward, starting one-on-one meetings with state legislators. I'd be happy to support you in these meetings, happy to set them up, stay out of your way, join you all for coffee with meetings, or go to Salem together, but give the board a chance to really step in, develop relationships with their state legislators in their districts. From there, it goes on to include meetings with legislators, with key leaders outside of Linn County, so the minority and majority leadership, key Department of Transportation staff up in Salem, local elected leaders, federal partners, bringing them back on site to see our facilities, highlight all the great things we're doing that can bring back to DC and advocate for us. While I was here, I didn't want to miss a chance to provide a few updates as well at the state level. The short session, we're just a couple weeks away. In Oregon, we've a long session on odd number years, short session on even number years. This one is 35 days from February 2nd to March 8th. There's currently two priorities we know about: a transit funding task force that hasn't been assigned a bill number. So LC is legislative concept, though it hasn't been formally adopted by anyone yet, but we expect it will. Co-written in support by TriMet, we helped draft it as well. It's looking at funding opportunities for transit beyond just the payroll tax. It became very clear last session that across both sides of the aisle, while transit was supported, it was the payroll tax that was often a sticking issue. And then recently, you may have heard the governor's requested to recall House Bill 3991 or the 2025 transportation package. This comes out of a successful effort to refer the parts of the package to a vote in the next November election, so in 2026 of this year. The parts referred were simply the gas tax and the stiff payroll tax, and then part of the registration fees. Folks who supported that campaign felt like they were more than voters wanted. That was clearly the response from voters. Per Oregon law, once you refer a new tax to a ballot, you can no longer collect it. And so that has stopped collection of the increase, the payroll tax, the gas taxes until November. The governor's requested the entire bill be scrapped so she can work with legislators in both sides of the aisle to start with a new package in 2027. But before they can do that, she wants a clean slate to start from. And then federally, we're looking a bit down the ways here. They're releasing more and more of the current fiscal year budget, which is exciting to see those get passed. What we're waiting for next will be the Surface Transportation Reauthorization Package. This will be a 5-year plan. The current one expires this year, but this really sets high-level policy goals for federal transit, highways, bridges, all the kind of good transportation stuff. The most recent version was the Infrastructure and Investment Jobs Act, the IIJA. So they'll get a catchier name, but for now it's the Reauthorization Act. LTD staff and leadership are working closely with our federal partners, providing input on what rules we want to see amended, how we want to see them changed or better used, and for the next 5 years. I'm happy to pause there and kind of answer questions or dig in deeper into the document if you wish.
Questions?
I do have a question. What does current authorization expired this year?
Oh, sir, that's the current highway authorization. So that's the 5-year policy plan. That should have been tabbed over. I apologize. So that means it expires. The rules will expire. They'll have a chance to redo the rules, create new things. The current one, again, is the Investment and Infrastructure Jobs Act. A lot of those rules will wrap up and they'll have a chance to adopt new ones.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay. Thank you, Sam.
Okay.
Kelly, to your question, there was a town hall this past Sunday with Congresswoman Hoyle along with Senator Merkley, and the very first question was asked was about the reauthorization, and I appreciated Congresswoman Hoyle's comments about the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee in Congress. That is one of the few committees that both sides of the aisle want to get something done in terms of a transportation package, in terms of authorization, rather. We don't expect it to be as high as it was previously, but there is some there's a will to get some things done. So it seemed as optimistic as you could be to see some movement there. So I did want to share that as well.
Thank you.
All right, moving into the draft equitable engagement policy, and I believe that's Brandon or Dave.
Good evening, board.
Brandon.
It is. Hi.
Hello, Brandon.
My name is Brandon Melton. I'm a senior planner here at LTD, and wanted to bring to you, or back to you, this equitable engagement policy. It's something that Jameson spoke about maybe a couple meetings ago and said would bring it back when we've fleshed out some of the details. So we're here to present that tonight. So really this policy is building on some of the work that was done in the, let's see if we can get, I know, the COCA, Community Outreach and Communications Assessment. There it is. That it was really a pilot to offer a stipend to the Community Advisory Committee and to bring in more diversity on that committee and make it more accessible. And so this policy is meant to standardize that process, and that we found that the pilot was successful. So we want to build on that success. So some of the details are we would offer up to $50 per meeting or about $25 an hour. We would limit eligibility. So one of those limitations is you can't be paid by another organization to be there. That makes a lot of sense. And it's an ad hoc project-based time-limited committee. So it excludes the board, standing committees and subcommittees of the board as well. So the overall intent of the policy is to reduce barriers to participation and really in our public engagement efforts. And we have several of those lined up in the near future, especially around the long-range mobility plan, which you've heard a lot about. We also want to ensure that community voices are really helping to shape the decisions that the board is making. And so overall, it's really aligned with our core values, expands inclusive participation opportunities, recognizes values of community contributions, and strengthens partnerships in the community. And, so an example might be, a single mom who, needs to find childcare and would otherwise need to pay for that. So that would be potentially a financial hardship on them to be at that meeting. And numerous other examples of why this might invite more diversity onto a community advisory group. So I'm happy to take any questions about the details.
I have a question, or actually, a comment with regard to the stipend. It's sort of awkward, I think, for someone to acknowledge that they would like the stipend. Would it be a possibility that everyone gets it and they opt out?
That's the intent.
Okay, good. Thank you. Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Exciting.
So with that, I'll conclude my CEO report.
Okay, thank you, Jameson.
Thank you.
So we're ready for Pete and our finance report.
Thank you, Susan. Good evening, everyone. To page 36 of your packet is the monthly financial report for the month ending in December, from the end of December this year. Sorry. The story to this month is that we're up positive by $4 million and change. And I think you'll recall might have been negative last month. And that's really due to federal reimbursements coming in and filling for what we've already spent, basically. Remember, this is just cash in and cash out, not the whole budget, and doesn't include all the accounting. So we're in a positive position and things are looking good. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Pete. Okay, so I think we're ready to move to the consent agenda. Are there any items that the board wishes to remove for simple discussion?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor? Read to individuals. Oh, sorry. Kelly?
Yes.
Lawrence?
Yes.
Heather?
Aye.
Pete?
Aye.
Michelle?
Yes.
And Susan? Aye. Okay. So we have a motion to, okay, we're now going into board action items and back to you, Jameson.
Board, in front of you is a resolution to allow us to authorizing the CEO to enter into a contract with Gillig LLC. Gillig is a bus manufacturer. We are looking to replace 11 Gillig 40-foot diesel buses. You'll recall that we do use renewable diesel, which is 99% renewable. This procurement is done through the Washington Department of Enterprise Services. So we'll be using their procurement to be able to go ahead and buy these buses with a amount of $9,469,151.01. If they still make pennies. I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions? Okay, can we have a motion to adopt resolution 2026-01-2102?
I move to adopt resolution number 2026-01-21-02, authorizing the chief executive officer to enter into a contract with Gillig LLC for the purpose of replacing 11 40-foot buses for fixed route revenue service.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so moved and seconded. Michelle?
Yes.
Pete?
Aye.
Heather? Aye. Lawrence?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
And Susan? Yes. Okay, next.
Board, in front of you is a resolution approving the Title VI analysis of proposed 2026 fare changes. And I'm going to turn this over to Brandon to speak to.
Hello again.
So really these fare changes, aren't really, fare changes necessarily, fare access changes. So, 3 of them, in fact, and they're all bundled within this one analysis. So one of them is adding UMO Pass capabilities to some of our rural services. So same sort of fare media that's used on our fixed route system will now be accessible in all of our rural services as well, using handheld validators, in fact. So that's some new technology that we're leveraging to expand our ability to take fare payments. The second of those is our rolling pass, which you've heard of. So changing from a calendar, so where it was only good from the first of the month to the end of the month, now you can purchase a pass at any time, and following the first tap of the pass, either 31 or 92 days after that is when it's good for. So good for our riders in getting the full value of their fares. And then finally, we have our rural shuttle pilot launching soon, and we're working on establishing some fares for each of the services. So for South Lane, it will be $5 per trip, which is a reduction in the cost overall. Those trips range from 5 to 15 in the Metro shuttle. Now, not the same project, new pilot altogether, but just as a comparison, the upper end of that was close to $15 based on origin and destination. But recognizing that these trips are going to be shorter, we'll be bringing people into Cottage Grove to connect to our other fixed route services. It'll also include a day pass in that $10 round trip. And then for the new service areas, we don't have any established service there. And so we're trying to incentivize people to ride, to really understand what the demand is in those rural places. And so we're minimizing financial barriers and offering $2.50 per trip, $5 for a round trip, but also offering the fixed route fares so we can connect folks to our fixed route system and hopefully understand how that rural service feeds into our ridership on our fixed route. So those are the 3 changes. Overall, the analysis proposed changes show that minority and low income populations will not bear a disproportionate burden compared to non-Title VI populations. And the proposed changes provide equitable benefit across LTD, and no discrimination impacts were identified. Happy to take any questions.
Heather?
Thank you. I just want to start by saying the communication for the changes has been really good, at least in my circles. I know Cosette has been especially present and explained, and I think that a lot of the changes are great. I have a couple of questions about the formula for the impact, and the reason is because I know that we see those buses pretty much daily, and the people riding those buses are heavily our minority population, and that is their access to parent education and center-based,
Right.
children's activities. So I understand that there's a pilot to the new areas, but I guess I want to say I didn't quite understand the math, because it will disproportionately affect our minority population. And I know that there are 2 different programs and this is a new pilot, but I guess I just wanted on the record that there is a current program that's between, I think, $1 and $3. And even that is a barrier for families. We're able to right now use a grant to help them get to activities, but a leap to $5 a round trip, slightly different project, but for that population, it's going to be a big barrier. I guess I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it will disproportionately affect. So I didn't see that come out in the wash here in that information, but based on what I see daily, it's going to have a big effect.
Yeah, and we did analyze the minority and low income populations for the area. Since this is considered a new pilot, we're establishing a new fare, and so can't really compare it to the previous service. So I understand what you're saying, but that's really the logic behind how we did the assessment. But
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
if it feels like it really is too high and is a barrier, is there an opportunity to adjust?
Yeah, that's the great thing about a pilot is we have a lot of latitude to do what we want with it and kind of see where the right fare is, what the right level of service is. And that's what we're really trying to get at with these pilots is how we can provide useful service to rural populations in a way that is sustainable.
That's great.
Okay. How long is it, what is the duration of the pilot if you have to make an adjustment? Are you locked into like 6 months or 9 months?
So the pilot itself is 18 months, but we can make changes throughout. We plan to make assessments, every few months because we only have a limited time to gather that information. And so if we want to make those changes and see the impact of those, we, have to make them with enough time to see how it plays out.
I agree with Heather. I think if that's something we could maybe monitor and have a report on for the board, interesting to hear.
Part of the assessment will be surveying, and so that's certainly something that we can survey ridership if they feel like the fare is fair, or if it's, would be helpful to reduce it.
My concern is that it'd be a barrier for people so you wouldn't even be able to find out.
And I would offer that our team could easily help with that, which would be especially for our Spanish and Mayan speaking population, because that is hard to survey. And then also I just want to go on record and say in this changeover, there has been subsidized offerings for families and participation for many of them has gone way up in the programs. So it's that dollar doesn't sound like much, but when it's two ways and especially in experiencing right now.
Hey, Brandon, for the connector fare, is that changing?
Connector fare is not changing.
Okay.
How did you arrive at the $5?
We saw the range of the $5 to $15 on the previous service, and we wanted to go on the lower end of that. And so we said $5, recognizing again that we're not taking folks all the way into the Eugene Springfield metro area. It's going to be more localized, so those trips will be shorter. Before it was based on mileage, so longer trips were charged more.
Up to the 15.
Up to 15.
Because it seemed like the 5 to 15 wouldn't be a barrier, but if it's a shorter trip, and so.
Again, that does include a day pass for fixed route too. So that was something that wasn't included before. So trying to offer some value there as well.
And you'll be tracking who is actually utilizing the fare passes?
We will, yes, where we can. So we can track with taps, harder to track with paper. So that'll be something that we're going to be working with and trying to understand, how we're connecting folks. And that might more come out in the survey than we're able to track with data.
Good. Thank you. That's helpful.
Dave, you have something?
I just wanted to make sure that everyone is clear that the connector fares are not changed. There's still a $1 option in town. It gets confusing because there are so many separate services down there, but the $1 option remains in town.
Thank you. I get confused, so for sure.
And that'll be also accept UMO and TAP services. It'll also expanding the service there, having another bus available, especially because we've increased 98 trips, route 98 trips. And in order to do that, we've had to make some of them express, which doesn't stop all the way around the loop. You may have heard that. So we're relying on the Cottage Grove, or the connector, the connector service to get people where they need to go in the community. So we'll be able to do that with expanded connector service. I keep saying Cottage Grove, but that's where it's at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other question? Okay. Could we have a motion to adopt resolution 2026-01-21-03?
I move to adopt resolution number 2026-01-21-03, approving the Title VI analysis of proposed 2026 fare changes.
And a second. Okay. Michelle,
Yes.
Pete,
Aye.
Heather, Lauren,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
and Susan. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. The Lane Transit District Board of Directors will now enter an executive session pursuant to ORS 192-660-2F, which allows the board to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. And following this executive session, the board will not return to regular session and the board meeting will adjourn. So designated and staff and representative of the news media may remain in the room, and all other members of the public are asked to leave at this time. And before we